What's up, music fans of the internet? I'm Kevin.
I'm Derek.
And together we are last week's album, where we're talking about good music, back with another album review. Before we get started, though, we'll kick things off like we always do, drinking a beer. Cheers, Derek, and everyone at home.
Cheers, Kevin, everyone at home.
Sorry, I had to get that one ready. Let's get into it. Today we are reviewing an album called In the Fullness of Time by a band called Goodnight Lenin. They are a relatively unknown alternative Americana quintet formed in the West Midlands of England in 2011. I think these are probably their last names. They go by Fell, Conway, McCready, Sherlock, and Barry. And this is their first album, following a couple of EPs and a couple of singles. So let's talk about what it sounds like. Derek, what do you think?
Kevin, I think In the Fullness of Time sounds like Goodnight Lenin doing a better Dawes impression than Dawes. And I like Dawes.
Yeah, I could definitely hear that in there. I'm going to say that this sounds like a modern-day Crosby, Stills, Nash Young hunt fleet foxes while riding a band of horses with Jeff Buckley as their outlaw guide. Not as concise as Derek's, but I think you guys probably get the idea.
I like those references there, Kevin.
Yeah. Let's talk about key tracks. Derek, what did you pick?
I'm going with the album opener, You Were Always Waiting.
All right, I'm going with Old Cold Hands, which is not as creepy as it sounds. But why don't you start us off, Derek? That one comes first.
Yeah, this one, album opener, it kind of breezes in on, obviously, the sounds of breeze, if you will, or wind, whatever you prefer. But it's slightly more than a zephyr, so, just take that for now. And then it bleeds into this chilly rising guitar lead, prominent piano, cymbal-heavy bass snare drum beat, and the tension builds as the guitar shifts towards some biting power chords, which is also matched in intensity by just this kind of shrill pounding piano. This all ebbs in the verses as there's a rising and falling piano riff. Electric guitar flourishes that were very well done here, in some parts harmonized, sounded really cool. Softer percussion really features the lead vocals here. And then in the chorus, this drum beat just builds, bleeds into this angular guitar riff, which just really plays well against the harmonized vocals there in the chorus. The lyrics, I think it's about waiting on a soulmate and not like in line for the bathroom. So, that was kind of cool. And I was just immediately captured by, some of this simplistic sound, but it's really put together very well and just captured my attention immediately.
Derek, what if you met your soulmate while you're waiting in line for the bathroom?
Okay, my answer to that would be, what kind of bathroom line are you in? If you're trying to meet a soulmate of the opposite sex, are you waiting in line in a unisex bathroom?
Sometimes the lines are just right next to each other.
I'll give you that. Yeah, okay.
Or maybe it doesn't have to be of the opposite sex. We're open-minded here.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. That is a perfectly acceptable place in that situation.
All right, enough about waiting in line in bathrooms. Old Cold Hands is the key track I've chosen, and I really dug it for this blaring, jangly, reverbed guitar intro. We get these crystal clear, really loud vocals, which I thought were sort of the clearest and loudest vocals on the album. Drums, bass, guitars, piano all come crashing in together soon after. We get these lush, harmonized group vocals, which are kind of a hallmark of Goodnight Lenin. And for me, the most impassioned vocal delivery on the album here in this song. And it builds with these crescendos that sort of drop out to almost nothing. And then later, some violin adds to this orchestral tension, as the latter sort of creates its own, or the latter half of the song creates its own new slow build. And for me, just the most dynamic, driving, and enthralling track on the album. So, best lyrics. Derek, what are you picking?
Kevin, mine comes from a song called Another Day, and he says, if love is a label, I'm stitching it into you. And I just really liked it, the simplicity of it all, and just still captured a lot of meaning right there. So really dug that one.
Well, we are in complete agreement. I have chosen the same lyric, although I heard it as, if love's a label, I've stitched it into you, but past tense, future tense, doesn't really matter. You get the meaning. Yeah, it's a lot of depth right in one little concise line. So really nice. All right, overall rating. What are you giving it, Derek?
Kevin, I'm giving this one a 4 out of 5. I thought it was a fantastic debut. I was really blown away. And I heard them first before I read more about them to find out they were from England. I was really blown away by that. Just, I mean, the sound is, something you definitely kind of expect to hear out of the West Coast. And by that, I mean, like, the Pacific West Coast. And that kind of led me to another thing. I was like, okay, so what do you call it when all these European bands come in to America with their just fantastic Americana sounds? You know, there's the British invasion in the 60s. Is this like the Brit-Kana invasion? I don't know. But I really dug this band. Looking forward to hearing more from them. So, hello, Goodnight Lenin.
Well, Derek, they are from the west side of the Midlands, if that makes you feel better. But I definitely hear what you're saying. Definitely a lot of Laurel Canyon vibes coming out of this. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. I thought they got a little lazy at times with a few too many repeat lyrics, just kind of singing the same thing over and over in certain spots. And sometimes I thought they were a little too precious and subdued. I really wanted to let loose a little bit more. I thought that they hit their stride with their more driving, heavier tracks like A Cautionary Tale and Old Cold Hands and The Reason. And that's where I think they set themselves apart from both their influences and their modern-day, present-day peers. I think they're still sort of learning to shed their skin, but as you said, Derek, overall a great start, a very strong, promising album, especially as a debut. So, there you have it, guys. Derek's giving it a 4. I'm giving it a 3. That makes it 7 out of 10. You should definitely check this one out. In the Fullness of Time by Goodnight Lenin. And don't forget to subscribe to us here on last week's album on YouTube. And you can find us on all the other social media channels. So until next time, guys, I'm Kevin.
I'm Derek.
And we'll see you next time. Cheers, guys.